What's going on, guys? Just tested my phone out, and I think I've got it. I am going to make a phone call here in a minute if my brother will answer me, and try to get a podcast out tonight with him, and just see if we can actually get it right or get it to where it needs to be. I'm seeing if he. Seeing what we got going on, but I can just give you guys a little update. It's been a couple weeks since we filmed one. I've just had one in the bank, and now I've got one day.
And we're down.
There he is. Are you there? Yo, what's up?
The podcast ain't gonna happen. Not tonight.
Oh,
Should have
no.
called me about an hour and a half earlier than now.
Motherfucker, dude.
I'm making dinner. I got a shower, and Bailey's getting ready to get off work and call me.
All right, bet. I figured it out. I had to go on. It was a Reddit forum. You have to change a setting so that it works for your phone through the USB port. Because if you don't,
Are you recording right now? See if it's picking this up while we're
yeah,
on
it
the
is. I
phone.
called Kenzie after I called you the first time to see if it would work, but it's working through the phone. I think it's going to record a weird audio file, so I think I'm going to still order the actual Bluetooth thingamabobber. How do I sound to you?
You sound fine.
Okay.
You sound good, like you're talking through like a decent mic.
Yeah, no, that's what I've got. I mean, my mics are decent. I gave you my old ones that wouldn't plug in through XLR.
Can you hear my microwave?
No, but I hear your TV in the background. Is that what you're calling?
I can turn that down. I'm watching baseball right now. I was watching soccer, and then I went outside to.
Anyways, like I was saying before Alex called me back, Alex is going to be probably my go-to because I can just bullshit with him and visit with him. But I'm out here doing a solo dolo podcast tonight, just trying to get one out and try to keep it on that one or every Wednesday release, and still playing with things, still learning things, still doing things, messing with things, and messing with my audio, trying to get all that like to where I want it to be. So like if you hear me getting louder or quieter, I'm messing with shit. I'm still trying to figure it out. I feel like I'm quiet on the podcast, and I don't want this thing to be right in my face constantly. So I'm trying to figure out a good happy medium to get it to where I want it to be, and then get all these things set up. I just got I talked to a good buddy today who might be co-hosting with me, old Connor Rowell, Rowell Outdoors. He's funnier than fuck, and I think he'll make a perfect side-by-side seat person with me to sit here on nights where I don't have somebody. He can call in, now that I've got the phone figured out, or he can, he said he don't mind making the drive, and this is portable, so some nights and I make the drive, he makes the drive, or we can travel around and visit with people, bullshit, and the whole 9 yards. But the podcast is fun. I've had a lot of fun with it. I've only had one guest so far, and it was a different dynamic, and learning as we go and learning as we do more of these things, and learning more when I edit, making sure the video lines up in the whole 9 yards. But excuse me, adding a different dynamic to the weekly uploads, my uploads, because I go a long time in between, hunting seasons or fishing, trapping, the whole 9 yards, to where getting something to be able to post more and do more is going to gain me, not that I want it. That's not what I do it, but it gets more out there and it gives me something else to do. And I've always wanted to continue to do things that revolve around the outdoors. I've thought about writing. I got my buddy from camp who every year we joke and fuck around and talk about making a cookbook. And, he wants to text me after turkey season, said he wants to be my field staff. And I told him, I said, ain't nothing to be special. I said, it's just something I do because I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy visiting and talking to people. And, I've gotten hunting permission from my job, and all I am is a garbage man and a septic pumper. I mean, I live, die, breathe. I live and breathe hunting, being outdoors in the whole 9 yards. Oh, it's up there. To the point where I just keep trying to find different avenues and different things to do. I'm gonna look through my phone quick while I'm visiting with you guys and try to figure out a story to tell. We'll talk about some old hunts and stuff. This is easier to bounce off of other people and having to have that dynamic. That's why I was hoping Alex would be free tonight. But as you could hear, banging in on me, calling in. Son of a bitch. Let me see. We could do kind of an interactive one. The last two podcasts we've brought up bears, and I know a lot of people are like super against bears. They're nothing but varmints. Nothing. Actually, a good friend of mine had a. Oh, what did I see on Facebook? It was supposed to be an outhouse they were supposed to sell, and never ended up selling it. Well, they turned it into their garbage, like storage, where they stored their garbage can. And yesterday, 2 evenings ago, when they woke up yesterday, the door was ripped off and destroyed because a bear got into it. So I guess let's put this out there to you guys, any listeners or any people, just to improve engagement and try to get the audience, maybe more people, share it, visit, and try to push this out. Oh boy, guess I don't need my phone hooked up. Turn my sound off. Who hunts bears? Who hunts them? Not even necessarily specifically. Who just hunts bears? Who's gonna go out and who has gone out specifically, and said, I'm gonna, they hunt the early bear season, and then or if you don't shoot one early on, you go through bow season, and then deer season rolls around. If a bear comes out, are you shooting it? I guess that would be my topic of engagement from this week. I might start to do something like that weekly when we do these podcasts. I'll throw it out in the intro. I'm going to get an intro made up for this, like a little icebreaker into the episode, telling you what's about to happen, what's going to go down. Not this episode, but we'll start. This will be the first question, and I'll think up one every week, unless I'm being lazy. And I guess we'll lead this one off. So a little post engagement, a little debate, a little bit of, a lot of people may not want a bear hunt. They may not agree with it. They may not, they deer hunt, but not bear hunt. They may, a lot of people don't want a bear hunt because they had it once and it was disgusting, or they don't see the point in it. They think it's just trophy hunting, or, something along those lines. So here it is, the question. Do you bear hunt, or are you specifically, if you're sitting in a deer stand, it's deer season, the early bear season's already gone by. You didn't get one when you went out that one time. Maybe you were just like, I'll try it. Are you shooting a bear? And if you've shot bears, just off on a whim, it's deer season. Oh, I'll kill one. Try it. Did you like it? And did you continue, or is there a reason you didn't continue to bear hunt? And I guess I'll follow that now with my answer. When I was younger, we didn't hunt, everything. We were deer. My father was deer. That was about, or small game. We've always ran rabbits. You bust a partridge, you shoot a partridge. The earliest thing I ever shot was 2 chipmunks with my father. He shot a partridge. We were up at our camp in Township 19 in Tupper Lake. So growing up, really all we did was small game, excluding turkeys. We did not turkey hunt. No waterfowl, and deer. And I can't say that my father wouldn't have shot a bear. We just never seen them. I know my uncle and cousin, like over on where they hunted on the public land, I know they'd let them go because they didn't want to drag them out as far as they were back, and I don't know. I'd have to get either one of them in too. But there's a lot of them over there on Drum where we ride around and go see them and stuff. But when I premise this, when I was younger, hunting is no different than now. I wanted to hunt. And when a season would open and I couldn't hunt, I was like, why don't we hunt that? I wish my father would hunt that, but we were deer, which was whatever. I always had soccer during bear season, basketball, and then we'd go to camp, or we'd go to someone's camp, or we'd get up and hunt somewhere if we weren't in a camp at the moment. But when I was old enough, that 15, 16, and I could drive, or I was riding with a buddy, we bear hunted, and it was, it was like a thing, like, oh, let's try bear hunting. Same with waterfowl, same with, turkeys and stuff. And when I started something, I'm very bad at grabbing it by the balls and going hard. And that sounds rough. And and so when I bear hunted, I was like, I'm deep diving. I want to learn as much as I can, deep dive, read a book, watch YouTube videos, the golden age of YouTube growing up with how-tos, tips, this, that, and the next thing. And I can honestly say I learned a lot, and I've hunted them hard. I've killed 5 which doesn't seem like a lot. You know, like a lot of people. I know a guy that travels, kills 3, 4, 5 a year, different states, different countries. So Canada versus New York or the United States. You know, I know people that prefer bear meat over deer meat. And I'm not saying I do or don't. I don't eat bear steaks because trichinosis makes me nervous, but we do a lot of it in slow cooker recipes all through the winter. We've done 3, 4, 5 different, you know, recipes with the bear. No different than you do beef. Just season it, sear it, throw it in a slow cooker, either shred it or just do a roast, and it turns out absolutely amazing. And that's where I think a lot of people have failed, or not failed, but fall away from it, is they ate steaks one time at a cookout, and it was gross, gamey. And I think bears, what I've read and followed, is that a lot of it's their diet and stuff. Now, I wouldn't specifically target a bear at our office garbage transfer station where it's eating baby diapers, which is, don't even get me started on that. They love baby diapers. But where they've been eating garbage and junk and gross stuff and, you know, what they smell like, I think, is what they're going to wind up tasting like. But, you know, you get out in the public land, like especially when I see down in like the Catskills and stuff, they're eating a lot of but acorns. Eating a lot of acorns. Black cherries up here is a big one for bears. Usually acorns, black cherries is in the fall. That's your crop in September when you're bear hunting. And so they got, you know, they're building that fat layer. They're eating, you know, I guess probably eating whatever is readily accessible. And your deep wooded bears, and, you know, my father shot two or three at our camp now. And that's why I'm saying I don't. Back then, he may have killed one if we seen one, but we just never seen him back then. So he's killed 2 or 3 of them. And we cook them the same way, and they taste just as good, just as well as the corn-fed ones that I shoot off of the property where our last guest, Ben, their family property, out of the corn lots. And honestly, out of the corn lot, it's still close enough to civilization. Funny story: we were eating dinner one night, and it was like the first year I think I'd killed a bear. And we had a roast or 2 over the winter. We do a lot of sweet summer sausage and breakfast sausage are my 2 main go-tos for bear. Because I love saucing up a breakfast, especially sausage, gravy, and biscuits. Otherwise, eggs. You know, we got chicken sweet, the hell out of eggs. Eggs and breakfast sausage are mint. And so I was doing a roast up, and I made one up, and I was like, okay, no, I got to change some people's minds about this thing. I got to cook it for some people. So I cooked for my parents, came over for dinner one night. And it was the early seasons. You know, I was 2-3 years into waterfowl hunting. When I say waterfowl hunting, I'm talking early season goose. And my father was like, oh, you're feeding me goose. And I was like, I'm not feeding you goose. I'd never fry up goose like this. Usually do jerky. Or we take it and get it ground up and turned into Krogan bologna. And I said, what do you mean I didn't feed you any goose? He said, yeah, it's full of BBs. I said, what are you talking about? And he spit out on his plate. He spit out a bunch of little 7.5 shot from like a clay pigeon load. I said, yeah, first off, you wouldn't catch me shooting that at geese at all. You'd get my ass in trouble. I said, second of all, that's a bear. I said, no, for a fact it's bear, unless Nolts has gave me somebody else's order, and it is in fact something that you can shoot with BBs that is big game that I am unaware of. And as we all kept eating, every one of us was spitting out little shot of like 7.5, like clay pigeon loads, like a target load. And, all I can think of is it was getting into someone's trash or terrorizing something. And somebody decided to take it upon themselves and blister him in the ass with a low-powered shotgun load. And we were picking BBs out of his. I'm assuming it was probably a rear rump roast. And we were spitting BBs the whole time. And my father swears up and down, "You're feeding me waterfowl. You're feeding me goose or duck." I said, "That is not." I said, "That is a black bear." But I mean, I think you do it properly. And I mean, that's anything. People that eat venison tell me they don't like it. And I'm like, I don't know what you did wrong. Let me cook it for you. And let me change your mind. So same thing with bears. I don't know. I don't think I'd ever do steaks with it because steaks make me nervous. Don't ask me why. They just do. whether it be the trichinosis, because I want my steak medium or rare, medium rare, rarer than medium, but medium rare, especially with venison. I don't want a well done steak, no matter what meat it is, unless it's pork. I want that burnt to a crisp because I can't handle pork. My belly don't like it. But so yeah, I guess there's. I kind of went on a tangent there. I target bears specifically. I've got a handful of us. We do target them. So that was answering my own question, I guess, to loop back to the engagement question. Is I target them specifically, as you can tell by the table. I actually the other day digging through stuff. Right here is my 2018 Black Bear Management Cooperator patch. I found that out here in a tote. I should have, like I said, 3 or 4 of those. I know this bear here, I did not send a tooth in, so I will not get a cooperation patch. But on the other hand, I should be getting one for Kenzie's with her age at some point, like we talked about in her podcast, and then we can kind of give an update and see. I'm actually really excited to see. Like I said, it may not be an old bear, or it could be 19, 20, 21 years old. You never know. But yeah, I think it'll be fun to do that. I won't go into a tangent every week talking about my perspective of it. But this week, since nobody's in here, I figured I'd give you my 2 cents, even though you didn't ask for it. So I guess I could talk about, since we're on the topic of bears quick, try to get this thing so it's not such a short podcast. I'll tell you a story about my first bear. And my first bear was actually, I had Kenzie with me. We were in high school, and I'm going to be looking at my phone for the people watching, but I'll keep talking. My first bear was down on the corn lot, and Kenzie and I were hunting together. I was still in high school. No, I graduated. I was 17. Yeah, 17. And we went down the year I got married. Let me see if I can find it. And I'm trying to multitask here, look at my phone, and keep telling the story. And for some reason, I'm backwards here. The first picture that pops up is the second bear that I killed. All right, here we go. Let's see if it's got the date. November 9th of 2019. No, that's not right. That's when I screenshotted it. No, that's not even the right bear. Hold on. Well, anyways, Kenzie and I, we had put cameras around the field, and you can go back and watch the video. That was the first one. No. I am ass backwards. The video, my first bear kill on video was my second bear I ever killed. The first one, because I killed that with my Savage Model 99 out of a tree stand. The first one I was sitting on the ground with, I believe, I'm going to get it backwards, either a Winchester Model 94 or a Remington Model, a 35 Remington. And I'm trying to remember, but I don't have good signal out here to see if I can find the picture. I'm holding the gun. I'll put it on the screen, but I'm holding the gun in the picture with Kenzie on the back of my little blue Chevy I had at the time. And I don't, redundant. I will find it and post it in the video. I'm trying to remember what year it was. I want to say it was 17. Either 2016 or 2017 when I killed the bear. Went down. We had scouted it. But, that was the first year we were like, what is destroying the corn? This doesn't mean, no one was doing it. And, that I knew of, I've come to find out, I knew people that were hunting cornfields and having success, and I was just like, oh, okay, that makes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this. I have the necessary or the availability to try it. I'm going to try it. And so we went down and hung cameras, got some cameras out, and learned that there were, in fact, a bunch of nice black bears heading the field, and there's no way to pattern them. They're random all times of the day. No specific. The only thing we don't do is sit morning watch, because it just seems like you sneak in there and you blow them out of the field and they don't come back. One time it's worked. And if I was like, only got 2 days to hunt, I'll hunt mornings. But in reality, I think you're just better off sneaking in the afternoon. and catching them coming to the field, even though we've had them run out of the field in daylight when, like, if the harvester comes through and chops some corn. They get down to like their last 2-3 stretches, and I'm sure you've seen a YouTube video of them getting down to that last stretch, and they're just like hogs. They'll hang right up until that last little bit, and then they shoot right out. But we'd hunt cameras, had some videos, pictures. There was a couple nice bears, and we had, I want to say, 4 of us, and there wasn't room for 4 of us. 5 of us. There might have been 4 or 5 of us hunting, and there really wasn't room for 4 or 5 of us on the field edge without, like, where the sign was. Like, you could hunt the corn with 20 people and not be, you could still be shooting safe, but where the sign was, you could hunt 2. And there was 4 or 5 of us, so I drove down and around and got permission from the landowner that bordered the field. He was like, yeah, go for it. I don't care. Go for it. And so, super nice guy. I appreciate it. He didn't give us permission after this year because I think, if I remember correctly, he wanted to try bear hunting after he had seen that we killed 3 bears. But, well, anyways, we went in and I had been scouting. And so I was like, well, they're running these ridges. He gave us permission. I've got 80 something acres to play with. I'm not going to go that deep in because I don't want to be, 1, I don't want to drag a bear that far. 2, I don't want it to be, I don't want to push them out. I don't want to boo them out of their bedding areas before they're coming to the field. I don't want to ruin it for other people. On top of myself, I don't want to get in there and just be like scouty McScouter sit and push everything out, and then we don't see bears for a week because I'm in there stomping around. So I didn't get that aggressive, so I left. I don't remember who was hunting. I just know might have been 3 or 4, not 4 or 5. There might have been 3 or 4 of us. So I left 2 guys on the field. Me and another guy walked up in. Left him on a wicked runway coming down in between like a washout in the ridge. And it was like not steep, not like they were using it pretty heavy. Like if they were running that first ridge and coming down, they were going to use that washout before they came down off the tip of the point. And all I did was I left where he was, walked the point down to where it was going to taper off on the end, and hugged the other side so I could watch that next ridge over and that gut in case something was coming. And we were sitting, probably got set up 3:30, 4 o'clock. Early, super early, but you never know what to expect, especially if you have to go into an area and scout it to hunt it. And we sat, like I said, Kenzie was with me, so she was whittling wood and playing with shit and being noisy because she didn't hunt then. She didn't hunt at all. And so she was playing with shit. And, I'm over there hunting my whole life. And I'm telling it's like taking a toddler. I was like, shh, would you stop? You're making a whole bunch of noise. She's whittling, using my knife, making spears and poking me and shoving them in the ground and fiddle fucking with shit. And one of the times she actually shut up, she like kind of snapped her head and looked at me. She's like, did you hear that? I was like, you take someone that has no idea and they go from being annoying because they're bored to being extremely serious. I was taking her as a joke. And I said, no, what did you hear? She said, I just heard a twig snap. I said, it was you. You're breaking sticks, you're whittling sticks, you're messing around. She's like, no. It was down in the hole to the left. I was like, whatever, I don't trust her. I don't believe her. I think she's full of shit. She has no idea what she's talking about. Like 5 minutes go by, and she was whittling a stick again, and she stopped. And I'm watching, literally the same direction this bear comes from, and I'm watching, and do you hear that? I said, do I hear what? She's like, something just groaned. I said, groaned? So I didn't trust her, didn't believe her. And 2 seconds later, I swear to God, it was 2 seconds later, she says, no, I heard like a noise, like it groaned or growled. And I said, nah. Now I'm really like, you have no fucking clue. Meanwhile, I have no fucking clue. I've never bear hunted in my life other than being in the woods deer hunting and maybe stumbling into one, which I'd never have. And I shit you not, 3 seconds later, from the direction she pointed and said she heard a noise of an animal growling and where the twig had snapped, here comes a bear. And I pulled up, and this is always the quick part. He was, it was 45, 50 yards through the timber, with a peep sight. That old lever action, like I said, it was either a Winchester Model 94 30-30 or it was a 35 Remington. I want to say it was the 35 because I wanted a beefier bullet, but I could be completely wrong. Pulled the hammer back, took him on the walk, and dropped him. Like I said, 50, 60 yards through the timber. I didn't have much of a shot and dusted him. Right in the neck, dropped him, went up. And this is where it kind of gets funny. I ended up having to finish him, which was fine. Walked up, finished him quick. It was done and over with quick. He didn't struggle or have an issue. And it was getting to the point now where it was like I didn't ruin anybody's hunt. So, back when we had cell phones, I got all the guys texting me. What'd you get? Did you get one? Was that you? And I said, yeah. No, I just put him down. I said, he's a good bear, but he died right on the trail. This should be pretty easy. If you guys want to come over, and we weren't filming anything yet. I don't even think we had started Explicit Outdoors yet. So they came over and we're looking, and a guy we didn't even know was hunting the field walked over, and he said, oh, I didn't realize anybody else shot. I said, what do you mean? I said, my son shot went up in the hill. We had shot literally at the same exact time. So we helped him trail his son's first bear, which was really cool. And that was my first bear. So they drug theirs out. His was smaller. They started dragging theirs out. I don't know where their pickup truck was, but he had permission to hunt the land I had permission to hunt. And so I started gutting it, and we went to drag it. And this was our first attempt at a bear of any sort, anything. And we learned quick that bears aren't fun. And so like I said, it was a little blue Chevy. It was a little 6-speed, 1500. So I went, and they used to sugar these woods, maple syrup. And so they were getting tractors with trailers to gather sap with buckets and with the tractor and stuff. So these trails are fairly large. They've grown up now because they haven't sugared it in a while, but I went and knocked on the landowner's door, and I was just like, hey, kind of a goofy request. I know you don't think my truck may make it down those trails, but it's a beater truck, and I want to try like hell to get as close to this bear as I can. Would you mind if I drive through the trails with my pickup truck? He said, if you make it out of there with your pickup truck, he says, not only will I be impressed, he said, but you can have, which he didn't, but you can have permission next year too. I backed right in, spun around, backed right up to that bear. It was probably half a mile from his house down this logging road trail, little bitty trail. And I think what happened was he seen that where it was so successful. I think he wanted to hunt it, but besides the point, got in there, ended up not having to drag it at all, which is a precursor probably to why I've been kicked in the ass so many times by the other bears I've killed. But I will shoot every legal bear I can when it goes by me because they are such an amazing meat to eat if you know what you're doing, and it's not hard. Being a mediocre chef is probably the easiest thing in the world. Being a good chef is probably the hardest thing in the world, but mediocre, I've got that handled. And maybe someday I will do a cookbook or write a book or do something and put out some information on bears because I think I just genuinely love bear hunting. And yeah, that's the story of my first bear. And the second one was not nearly as entertaining. Don't get me wrong, great memory. I actually talked about it this weekend at Joe's graduation party. All my buddies bailed on me when I shot, and his father and older brother Luke, who had a boot on. That one's the video. If you want to go watch the video, came out, helped me trail it, drag it out. But that was a quick, easy one. I was in the tree stand, shot it in the cornfield, ran off, died. There's not much story behind that. There's not much build up or lead up behind that. But still, one of my favorite memories, an awesome memory with those guys. And, to be able to recount on that and visit and bullshit is literally why I do this, specifically the podcast itself, is because I think it's more of a permanent, or not permanent, but more of a locked in form of being able to go back and relive those memories through the storytelling. And I'm recording it, so it turns it into a video podcast. So I guess not much. I can throw in snippets, pictures, and videos, but you get to watch me talking most of the time, which isn't that entertaining, but maybe it is. I have no idea. I watch other podcasts, listen to stories and stuff like that. So maybe who am I to judge? And maybe I'm just, I don't know the word to use, but confused. I don't know that anybody would want to watch me, but I don't really care. I'm putting it out there. I'm trying it, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. But yeah, so there you go. That gives you a little something, a minute, about a half a podcast, which you get one person, you get half a podcast. Two people, you get an hour. One person, you get 30 minutes. No. But something to engage on and visit and get some feedback, share it around. And I'd just love to see the feedback on bear hunting. Kind of a goofy one when they bring it up to people. You never really know how the conversation's going to go. They're either going to be with you. There's no real two sides. They're either with you. They're like, oh yeah, I love bear hunting. I love bear meat. This, how do you cook it? What do you do with it? Or I wouldn't shoot them fucking nasty things. Only reason I'd shoot them is because they kill fawns. You're missing out on a lot. You're missing out on a lot of game meat. You're missing out on a lot of, the conservation side of it, of protecting the fawns, but being able to reap the reward of a tremendously delicious game meat that doesn't take a lot to make taste good. And I believe that's the biggest misconception with them. So, yeah, I'm going to end it. It's hotter than blazing hell out here in the studio. I got to edit it. It's Tuesday. I procrastinated, but yeah, I've got some ideas for this. The intro, some things I want to work on. And now that I kind of got a phone call figured out and how to work that in, we're going to play with that and get that figured out too. So more guests are going to be available now that I figured out the phone call, and we'll see how that goes. I'll play around with it tonight with Alex's call and see if it interferes with anything or echoes or has an issue, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it went well and I don't have to spend $55 on a Bluetooth adapter to get this thing to do what I need it to do. But if I need to, then I will, because I've already spent this money to get it to where it is now. And like I said, might have a co-host lined up, might have some guests lined up. I got 3 or 4 people that have said just ready whenever you are. So just got to build up that courage a little bit and get some people on and just buckle down and figure it out and get this thing friggin' rolling. So that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Go check it out on Spotify and YouTube under Explicit Outdoors Podcast. Check me out on Facebook on the other page, which is Explicit Outdoors page. There is no specific page for the podcast, so I list everything under the Explicit Outdoors page. It just keeps everything in one and keeps it easy for me. So if you want to be on, don't be afraid to reach out on my social medias on Instagram or Facebook under Explicit Outdoors. And like I said in the last one, until this thing blows up and most of my friends are going to be the one watching it, shoot me a DM. Just message me and say, hey, I got some stories to tell. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm free most nights, not most weekends, because that's when I'm going to be scouting and setting cameras and doing food plots and all 9 yards. But I can always make time for an hour and a half a day to bullshit and talk about hunting, especially over a phone call that I've kind of figured out. So appreciate you guys for listening and watching. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. See ya.